Aloha. We are live from the Grove. It's another Friday. This is the third or fourth week in a row we've done this. Third week in a row where we kind of just do these weekly Friday check-ins, see how everybody's doing, and just staying connected. Sean J. Kennedy here, Paige Allison, and we are digesting a wonderful dinner. We had a socially acceptable get-together with a few of the team people here at the Oliver Grove Center for Community Wellness, and made some pizzas, a red and a white, and a pineapple was on one, and lots of garlic, and it was pretty amazing, actually. So feeling very satiated and just digesting here and feeling in a good vibe, a good, grounded, relaxed vibe. There's definitely been some intense energy spikes in recent days since our last broadcast on Monday when we did the sound bath and meditation, and stuff's going on constantly. We're in multiple planet retrograde. I think Venus just joined the fray recently, right? So it kind of kicked off with Pluto and then Saturn, I believe,
and Jupiter,
and Jupiter. Holy smokes! And now Venus. So all these planets representative themes of meanings. It doesn't mean the same thing for everybody, but I'm fairly certain a common thread through this, particularly now with so much retrograde energy, is a time of, and it fits with the great pause in the pandemic, depending what you like to call it, a time of introspection, reflection, taking inventory, revisiting old places. Maybe an old friend, an old acquaintance, an old lover pops back in, and you go, oh, there's still something there to come to terms with, to come to peace with, and just kind of an opportunity to circle back. So earlier this week, I went for a really amazing hike in some woods, a forest in Wyoming County, private land that was adjacent, some land that my aunt and later her son owned for, almost, I'd say around 30 years, and more than 30 years. And a lot of special memories from childhood for me, going out there with family and hiking the woods and fishing. And it really had a really powerful impact on my being and my values and my connection to earth that was established as a young boy. And I've always loved being outside. And so to go back to this land, it's been out of the family for a number of years. A piece of it was sold off, and then the last of it, I think 2 or 3 years ago, my uncle and cousin sold off. So I just kind of drove out there, parked on the side of the road, and walked into the woods on private land, and there's trespassing signs. And those were there when we were kids and teens and stuff, running around those woods too, but these look like they were more freshly posted, and so perhaps a new landowner. Anyway, long story short, I got into the woods and spent 2.5 hours hiking hills and waterfalls and ravines. And like I said, it's a really amazing landscape between the trees and the birds. I mean, I wish I knew birds better. There was just some really cool sightings that I had, especially when I was walking through the waterfalls and up the ravine. But really beautiful, magical day, and it allowed me to revisit my connection to a place and remember different periods of my life when I have been out on that land, and land nearby. A lot came up. There's a lot of joy and at times some melancholy. Part of that was just recognizing how special a time in my life or an event was in the past that I could tie to being out there, whether it was as a little boy, chasing frogs, or staying up late to watch fireworks on 4th of July, or getting ice cream on the ride home, and those kind of things, to early adulthood and going out there and having a fire and having a couple beers, just like our parents and aunts and uncles did when we were kids, and sort of carrying on that tradition before the land was sold off, and then to have it expand beyond there to really feel just such a sense of wonder and connection with creation. And I'm blessed to feel that in other places, so it's not limited to, maybe I can get out there once every 5 years. There's other really special places that I go to more frequently. It's a big part of my path, just to be outside and connecting with the tree, connecting with the earth in my feet, connecting with a body of water, whatever animals may pass through, and then humans, if it's a more public place. I didn't see anybody in the 2.5 hours that I was out there hiking in the private land, not one person. It was a beautiful day. A little chilly, but it was still beautiful. So that just lined up. And later that day, I met up with some friends on their land, and it became this whole day of being out in nature and outside, and helped a friend get staged for building a cabin near a stream, and having a meal together, and just really enjoying that camaraderie in these more small, intimate gatherings. Again, it was I think 5 of us. Paige was out there and some other our friends, and yeah, it was 5 of us plus their kids, and just loving being out there, exploring the land, and going inside their beautiful homestead, and having a meal together. It's just really special. So, hello, thanks for the thumbs up. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on the retrograde energy. Perhaps you can resonate with that in your life.
I have 2 things to add to the retrograde energy. One of the things that is coming up for a few of the people that I talk to is a few of the people are saying, I'm having to deal with something that I thought I already dealt with, or that I thought I already processed through. And I'm just gently reminding them, be gentle with yourself. Realize that that's what retrograde energy is all about. When you go back to something, you revisit it, there's another layer there for you to move through, for you to heal, and it wouldn't be coming back up unless you were ready for that. And it's not something that you should beat yourself up for not getting it all the first time, or whatever it is that you feel like you should be doing. It's okay to go back and revisit these things. We need to go back and revisit it. If you think about the way that the stars are set up, they're set up in cycles. This planet is set up in cycles. So we have to honor the cycle of the retrograde rather than fear it, and rather than feel like it's here to hurt us. It's actually here to support us. We have to cycle back. We have to take a look at what it is that has happened and what it is that we want. And we have to kind of, before you jump, you have to bend down and get the energy. Before you pull and you shoot an arrow, you have to pull back. You have to take that time to really stretch. And allow that to be okay. Allow that to be cyclical rather than something that's like punishing you, or rather than something that you're feeling like you're not doing good enough in. There was the one thing that I wanted to say about retrograde energy. I guess I kind of combined two of them and things together. But yeah, just be gentle with yourself. The retrogrades are not bad. Oh, the other thing about retrogrades. So the last time Pluto was retrograde in Capricorn, according to this one article that I read, was during the American Revolution. So as we're in Pluto retrograde till October, this is something that I think that we all should be thinking about. Something that I'm thinking about personally is, what are my American values? What do I value as a person? And what kind of things do I want to build a community on? How does America thrive together as a species? These are kind of like, we're rewriting the American core values. Sean and I were talking about that earlier. And it's just part of this energy with the Pluto and Capricorn, and it's coming back up for us to look at what we did when we founded this country and where we want to move forward to. And I know that bringing up the politics might be triggering, but I'm not talking about one party or another party. I'm talking about the core values from which everything else unfolds. And that's kind of what we're redefining right now. And I encourage you to know what that answer is for you. And I'm looking at what that answer is for me, and how I can live my life personally and in my community according to those values, regardless of what the outside community is doing.
Yeah, I was thinking of Pluto retrograde as you were talking, and I think when it started, it was in Aries. Does that sound right? When it first started a few weeks ago? But I'm pretty sure, because I remember seeing something that I had written that the last time it was Pluto in Aries, I think I might have been in the womb or something, but it was a number of years ago. But now in Capricorn, going back to the Revolutionary War, the founding of this country and so-called Declaration of Independence from the Empire of Great Britain, and as a lot of us know, we never really fully graduated from that feudal hierarchy type system, and so we're still living in that. And socioeconomics is just another way that we can be divided as a people. And I really can't emphasize enough at this stage of the game how important the unity message is. And what I found from my experience, and it's been very humbling, is just letting people be who they are, believe what they believe, live how they choose. Obviously, if there's injustices, crimes committed, there's structures in place to handle that. But in terms of day to day, I had a guy just really out of nowhere cut me off in traffic, like came in hot and hostile. And an older version of me, I got triggered, but an older version of me probably would have gave him a what for. I just gave him kind of a beep, and I was like, what the hell, man? And then he was kind of furious, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Just gonna turn up the music. I think Bob Marley was playing, and just go with that vibe. So in that moment, choosing, say, that's where they're at. Do I want to go there? And part of me did, but a stronger part of me that's been emerging in recent years didn't. Just wanted to let go, listen to the music, and make my way down Hurdle Avenue. And hey, I'm not in any particular hurry. This is great. That dude was in a hurry. I wasn't. How amazing. Thank you that I wasn't in a hurry. So yeah, that truth. Everyone's living their truth. And we can really butt heads on where we don't agree with each other. There's so many ways we can slice it to separate ourselves from one another. So many. And it's not wrong. It's just that it puts us in an adversarial position with each other. And we stay in these loops, and nobody ever wins. When there's a war, when there's a feud, there's a conflict. The only value of conflict is to reach an understanding. It's how you build wisdom. But if that conflict involves harming of another human being, we got some real work to do. And that's where we can be at in a moment. We need to watch our judgment. It's another way that we separate, and it's subtle. But to recognize it and say, okay, I've come in hot and hostile. I know. I'll forgive myself. I'll shift. I'll be that change in this moment, rather than give this guy a piece of my mind because he's doing something wrong. No, part of that's wanting to feed anger and just get caught up in the energy of things. So we have conscious choice, and it's a muscle that we have to practice in our moments. And some things can really trigger us, and children, very common one, I think, for people, and significant others, parents, siblings. At the same time, many of us are missing some of those people in our life that aren't there as often. So wow, what a thing to be like, geez, it's nice to finally get some space from all these assholes. Whatever we're calling it in a moment, but just to say, oh, this is kind of nice to have a little bit of downtime. And then some downtime goes by, and we realize, oh, I really miss those people. Of course I do. I love them. And it gives us a chance to remember the truth of love, and that connects everything and everyone from our hearts. And that's what feels best to me, when my heart's open, and I can tell when it's closing up, and I work with it. That's where the mind comes in, and you start to work with that energy rather than fight it, resist it. Just acknowledge what's going on. What do you feel? What's this contraction? Why do you feel unsafe? Whatever it might be. Just to be with yourself that way. And then the people in your life that show up in that loving, supportive way, we're all going to be challenged by people in our life, but let the loving, nurturing support into your life. Can you let yourself be nurtured? It's a challenging way to grow on the path. Like, let yourself be loved. People want to love you. We have blocks to that. And so we kind of sit there going, gosh, they just never do this for me. And it's constant complaining, because we're really going like this. No, don't really love me. Don't really do those nice things or say those sweet things. I just want to be over here, like, angry about it. Oh, okay. So that's a place to recognize where we're at, and just to own that moment and say, I'd like to shift that. What feels better in my body? What feels better in my physical reality? And find our way. Find out what it means to upgrade, to ascend, to evolve. That can mean different things to different people. For me, it boils down to freedom, sovereignty. I'd rather have my freedom than security. And it's a big choice to make. And there's nothing wrong with choosing security. I get it. I've done it. I still slip into it at times. In fact, anytime you're holding on to money too tightly, it's an insecurity. Instead of just saying, oh, I have it. Thank you. I have it for this moment, for this need, for this gift, for this share with whatever it might be, whatever you're inspired. How good does that feel to give? And that's just one way monetarily. You can give people a smile, and just see that met with a smile. And if it's not, so be it. That person still needed it. Just to be able to allow yourself to do that. There's so many ways we can give and share, and to feel abundant. So the healing part of this path is to deal with all the stuff that doesn't allow us just to naturally be giving and loving and caring and peaceful and harmonious and creative, and wow, I've never seen this day before, instead of, oh fuck, I got to go to the office or see these people or deal with this thing again, these headaches. It's not inspiring. It pays my bills, but it's just a grind day in, day out. Wait a second, what am I doing here with my life? And just to get right with ourselves. Sometimes it's a minor tweak that we need to make, but depending what your goals are and what you feel your calling is, it might be more of an overhaul, like I've seen in my life. And in recent years, that overhaul has been pretty tremendous. And I'm just really grateful I've had the opportunity to not just reinvent myself, but to allow me to finally come forward and to express as I was born to express, and feeling less inhibited and encumbered by things. So, and if there's an example I would strive to set in this world, it's to inspire others. And that means I need to follow my inspiration. I can't inspire a single person if I'm not inspired, if I'm not living inspired. You can't fake this. It demands authenticity. It feels so good when you're on point, and it can feel pretty abrupt when you're not. And it's designed that way to catch you, to go, oh, just went back into that thing. Thank you. Okay. Breathe, do my practices. Maybe you're in it for a day, whatever it might be. You might be in something, part of the day. And then you move through it and you're like, wow, I feel like I could just do all this stuff. I feel super productive and focused, and go with that. So just go with our moment. If we're not feeling super productive, inspired, that's our moment. Work through that. Paige and I can both help with those kind of things, and stuck energy, cellular memories, emotional blocks, attachments, really working at this path, releasing ourselves from these things, and allowing the divine to really work through us as a clearer and clearer vessel, a clearer signal. So it's a process. I've got so many practices to support me in this. I lose track of them sometimes, but I know the ones that are really important and work for me, and I always circle back to them if I get away from it a little bit. But yeah, to live inspired. It's the greatest possible life, and whatever that looks like and feels like to you. Anything to add? A little pep talk today.
No, I just appreciate all of that. I think that it's right on. Oh, I did have something to add. Just in one of the things I'm noticing has been really helpful for me navigating where I am is looking at situations, and when I get triggered by something or someone, or when I get to a heightened state emotionally, I ask myself what inside me is similar to what it is that I'm mad at, just like Sean was saying with the guy who was coming in hot and heavy and,
hot and hostile.
Hot and hostile, sorry. Hot and hostile. And, he was thinking about all the times in his life where he's been in that energy. And it's been really helpful for me to navigate when I'm seeing something in somebody else that makes me feel hostile or angry or reactive. Then I ask, okay, what inside me is like that thing that I've just judged, the thing that I've just picked up and noticed. And honestly, every time I can find something. I'm like, oh, that person's acting crazy. And then I'm like, okay, well, what's crazy in me? Is there anything acting crazy in me right now? Oh, yeah, I can see that. I can see that part of me, or, anything that you notice in the outside world. It's one of the tools that I use to help navigate myself. And especially during retrograde energy, it's a really good time, really reflective time to look at those kinds of things as they come up in your life, to really, ask yourself what it is inside of you that wants to be seen, wants to be acknowledged. And then once you acknowledge it, and like Sean said, make peace with it, then you can make another choice. Then you can move forward through it and create an inspired life where you're just going from one inspiration to another. I've had a very inspired week. I've had a very inspired few months. I've been living these practices, and honestly, it's been really supportive. So if we can support you, let us know. We want to continue to support you. I'm going to be doing meditations throughout the month to support the moon cycle energy that we're doing. So we're going to be working through finishing up the root chakra, which is fear and security. And then we're going to be moving into the sacral chakra. So we're going to be working on opening up our sexuality and our creativity over the next month, starting on the 22nd. So,
oh boy.
Just wanted to give you guys a little preview for that. And that's all that I have.
Cool. Yeah, we're still working through the last quarter, I guess, of this moon and the root chakra theme. So yeah, a lot of that's been surfacing and hovering and beckoning me to acknowledge it, and ultimately moving through as I do and embrace it. And yeah, it's pretty incredible to see when you really just focus on your inner environment as often as you're willing to remember throughout the day how quickly and dramatically your reality can shift. And it's just in total calibrated response to that inner. However you are with this, that conversation in your head, these feelings throughout your physical being, there's that energy in motion, that emotion that you can feel in your body. To the extent that that is the focus, it's empowering. It's powerful to see your life shift, to see financial circumstances change, and not even about having tons of money or anything. It's just you feel differently about money. Having wonderful people in your life that you wouldn't necessarily have said, wow, I didn't see myself with this person or this group of people or this project, but it's so amazing. And the synchronicity cannot be denied. So it's back to that inspiration theme, like Paige was saying. There's work to this, to move through that and to learn to live a different way. And we can both tell you, and others that you may be tuning into, and YouTube and other resources of people that have really been working at their inner path, and you can see their higher self more evident coming through them. And you can feel it, right? You can feel it. It's not the wounded part of them that's speaking and connecting with you. It's the empowered part. And you feel that empowered part of you, and then you're connecting from there. And this is how we really affect change on a global scale, uplifting each other in that way. So fill your cup. I'll say it every time we get on. I'll just keep hitting the self-care talk and the taking good care of you, and fill your cup and love yourself and let yourself be loved, be supported, let it in. Challenge yourself. Say, oh, can I let that? Like maybe your kid's jumping all over you, kissing you, and it's great for the first 3 to 5 seconds. Then you're like, okay, get off of me. It's too much. Let it keep going until maybe, just give thanks. Wow, I got this little being that wants to just love me up. Okay, I'm going to challenge myself to receive it. And give. And we give as we receive. So thanks for tuning in. Monday we'll be here, 7 o'clock. And I think I'm going to set up my sound bowls. So head over to my personal page, Sean J. Kennedy, and look for a live stream in the next half hour-ish. Until next time we log on here, we wish you all well.
Namaste, everybody. The universal light within me salutes and honors that universal light within you. Namaste.
So much love.
Much love.
Bandanas are hip.